right. First of all, it's exciting to get back on the field tomorrow morning. We're really excited about going in the morning. We found out that we can get our team at practice if we practice early in the morning. So something that we're going to look into doing in the fall is the practicing in the a.m. so we can get a football team at practice. So that's something that we'll look into. Staff-wise, just going to go through some staff changes just so everybody's on the same page. Zach Lucas is the Director of Football Operations. I think that's already been handled, replacing John Stryker. Chris Woods is our new defensive coordinator. He'll be the defensive coordinator, coach the inside linebackers, replacing Randall McCray, who's gone to the Arizona Cardinals. Brett Elliott comes back to us from Mississippi State to coach our quarterbacks, replacing Parker Fleming, who went back to Ohio State. We moved Preston Mason from safeties to outside linebackers. Really, well, we kind of had Preston in the very beginning when we first got here 2 years ago, and hired Kyle Hope, who was the defensive coordinator at John Carroll up in Ohio. Hired Kyle to be the safeties coach, basically the secondary coach. Jules Montanaro will stay at corners, but he'll take over special teams as a special teams coordinator. So that's our staff changes. We're in the process of hiring a new GA, offensive GA. We lost Alex Farr to, I think, Glenville State in West Virginia as the O-line coach. So exciting for Alex to get his first opportunity to go coach as a full-time guy. We're also going to add a quality control coach on offense, Harry Richardson. Harry was with us at James Madison, went to Rutgers with Coach Kerr, then went to Mississippi State with Coach Elliott. So now both of those guys are here. Harry's here with us now. So we're excited about Harry being here on our staff. So I think the biggest emphasis for this spring is really development, continued development of players. I look at our roster, and we're probably going to have something like 88 guys participate this spring, which will be probably the highest number we've had since we've been here. We've got another 9 guys that are injured that won't participate in the spring, a handful of starters. Ishmael Davis, who's still recovering from ACL surgery. Jashawn Waddy, who hurt his shoulder really probably about halfway through last season and had surgery at the end of the season, will be limited this spring. We won't put him in any contact drills, but he'll be out. Elijah Rogers tore his ACL in the last ball game, so he's out, won't be available probably until July, but he's on pace and doing really well. Nick Foster, who is still out with concussion syndromes, so he won't be available this spring. And Mason Hayes is still recovering. We think we'll have Mason some during the spring, but we want to be cautious with him. So those are the guys, the main guys that will be out this spring. So hopefully we can get those guys back hopefully in June, July for those guys, most of those guys. But they're on pace to be ready to go for training camp. Again, I think, just like we said, development, I think is the most important thing for us in camp is continuing to develop players, technique fundamental-wise. I think for the first time since we've been here, we're going to be able to talk a little bit more situational football with this team. We're getting old enough now where we can talk about how many yards we need on first down and how as far as offense and defense. It's been we talked about it this morning as a staff. Now it's hopefully it's about getting prepared to go play situational football and compete in games and that type of situation. So that'll be a big emphasis. And then we'll continue to recruit. I think we're going to try to continue to add to our 18 class as we continue and move fast into our 19 class. So that's something that we're excited about doing. And it's going to, obviously with practice, spring practice, 15 spring practice days, and continuing to recruit 18 and move into 19, that keeps you busy. We'll have probably 2 or 3 junior days while we're in spring ball to try to get our 19 guys on campus, and also some 18 guys that we're still looking at. So we're excited about that. And then again, try to get better as a football team. I think that's the biggest thing. We feel like right now, roster-wise, we're as close as we've been to having, a full roster. We're still, I would say, 7 spots away from having a full roster, 7, 8 spots away from having a full roster that we need. But we're closer now. We feel like we've got some guys in place. Knock on wood, we need to stay healthy this spring. We need the 18 class to get in here this June and add depth for the first time. And we're not talking about any of those guys having to come in here and be, immediate starters for us like we have been the first 2 years. So we're excited about that. We're excited about some of the competition at some of the spots. Competition at quarterback, competition at receiver, competition at defensive back. So we feel like we've got some areas that we're able to start competing and get better at. So that's a big emphasis for us going into the spring. Questions?
You talked about opening the spring practice with 88 players. How does that help getting that development that you want to see to have that amount of players?
Well, obviously, the number of players that you have gives you the freedom to have more depth at positions and to move guys around and to stay healthier and not have to have guys take second and third team reps. Now we'll still do that in some spots. We're not quite there in the offensive line yet to do that. We're a little bit further ahead in the defensive line number wise, but I think you can develop when you get guys the right amount of reps. If you're getting guys too many reps, it's hard for them to develop. And that's kind of where we've been the last 2 years. It's been survival mode, trying to get through spring more than anything else, instead of trying to thrive and get better in spring. So now we're at the point, I think now we can, improve in spring ball.
Heading into year 3, you've got older guys now starting to show up at the top in that roster. You've got a lot of seniors or a lot of juniors now. Does that help in any way, starting to see an older roster?
Yeah, I think we have a number of juniors that have played some snaps. We still don't have a very big senior class at all. But I think we're starting to have some guys at the junior and really the sophomore position that have played a lot of snaps. So I think that's important. If you look at the Group of 5 level of football, and I was talking to another head coach about this the other day. The Group of 5 level, you don't see a lot of freshman phenoms. You see a lot of older, senior, junior-related teams that win, and it's because of the development that they go through from freshman, sophomore, junior. Then all of a sudden, boom, they're really good players as seniors, and sometimes you don't hear about them until their senior year. It's different at the Power 5 level, where you got a 5-star that comes in and he starts at defensive end or he starts at wide out and he goes. So the development process, you have to be patient in the development process, and I think that's what we're going through right now. We're getting into that next phase where guys have played some snaps, and now we got to teach them how to play those snaps better.
What tricks are you looking to improve the young quarterbacks you've still got on this roster now that you bring back Coach Elliott after his stint at a big SEC school?
I think more than anything else, just continuing to get them reps and improve their fundamentals and technique.
Coach, I know Chris Wood's coming in, replacing Coach McCray. I mean, obviously going to miss Coach McCray and wish him the best, but what does Coach Woods bring in from his experience with Oklahoma and all that he's done? How is he going to help the team out?
Well, one, he's got a vast array of knowledge. He's been around a lot of different programs. He's been a head coach at 2 different spots, which really impressed me early in the process. Was this guy's been around programs that had to be built, and to me that's important. I look at the Oklahoma, but that wasn't the reason I hired him. Mm-hmm. The reason I hired him was because of the knowledge and when you get on the phone and you talk to guys, or you sit down in person, you interview guys, and you talk technique and fundamentals and you're on the same page, that makes you really, really excited about hiring guys. So the experience is probably more than anything else. We're going to try to stay as similar as we've been as much as we can. We're going to do some things probably a little bit different coverage-wise to be able to get closer to making more plays in the pass game. But I'm excited about having more because of experience than anything else.
Coach, how well has your offseason program been from the end of the regular season back in 17 to get you ready for the spring now?
I think it's been impressive. I think Coach Burkhart's done a really good job with his staff, getting our players. Our players look lean, they look fit, they look stronger. One thing that I tried to really push was we wanted to be a bigger team. We wanted to start, getting bigger, and I think we have. Bigger, not fatter, bigger. And I think we're starting to get that way. Some guys have put on some good lean muscle mass, and hopefully that'll help them. One, hopefully it'll help injury prevention-wise. I'm hoping that's the number one reason. And two, I hope it helps our explosiveness. And it's be anxious to watch these guys this spring and how they go out and compete.
You mentioned development a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at the spring, you're trying to develop every position, but how key is development of the offensive line during this time of year?
Really, really key. Really key. It's going to be very important. I think what we can do is another year with Coach Mateus as the offensive line coach and techniques and fundamentals and what we want to do offensively. I feel like, when you start talking about development in offensive line, a lot of development in offensive line is confidence. And, okay, I know what to do because I've done this a bunch of times. And the more reps we can get at the techniques and fundamentals in the offensive line, the better we're going to be. And again, we're still not quite there depth-wise in the offensive line, but I feel like with what we have now, as opposed to what we had 2 years ago going into spring ball, we're so much further ahead. And then now we've got 4 more guys coming in, at least. We'd like to have some more come in with this class, that we're going to have a more athletic offensive line and an offensive line that can pass protect and do some things a little bit better.
How unique is your quarterback situation, given the fact you don't have – last year, Damian Williams, this time of year, a senior to help the young guys along. He's
Right.
not here. There isn't anybody like that here. So what is the approach to that position throughout the spring?
Well, again, I think we're more talented athletically at the position. Damien did a great job, but he doesn't have the foot skills as Willie and Jalen. And then when we get in the summer, we get Tyler here. So we're excited about the development of those guys. I think those guys having Coach Elliott at that position is going to be critical. Brett's done a really good job, even in the few weeks that he's been here with these guys, as far as understanding what their job description is at quarterback. And he did a great job for us at James Madison from year 1 to year 2 with a guy named Vad Lee, who didn't know what a coverage looked like in the year 1 when we were there. And year 2, he broke a bunch of records throwing the football. So Brett's skill set as a coach, I think, fits the 2 guys, really the 3 guys we have coming in. So I'm excited to watch, him teach and him develop these guys, because both Willie and Jalen, and they both will compete. We won't name a starter until the end of August. But all 3 of those guys get an opportunity to learn and compete under Brett, and I'm excited to watch them.
You spoke about Coach Woods earlier. Is his approach similar to what you had the past couple of years in terms of what you want to do defensively?
Yeah, I think it is. And again, I think the number one thing you want to do is you want to stop the run. You have to be able to do that, and you have to try to make people as best you can one-dimensional. I think one thing that winning the early downs, and that goes back to the situation of football, learning how to win early downs so you can get people in second and long, and then you can rush the passer and you can dictate a little bit, and then be a little bit closer in pass coverage. I think we want to do some things to take advantage of some guys that have some ability to do some things that maybe we have not taken advantage of in the back end. So I'm excited about trying to do some things back in the secondary to help us get closer to making more plays on the ball.
You've talked about wide receiver and defensive back being places that you're excited to see competition. What is it about those two groups that stands out to you?
Well, we've recruited, you know, a lot of new guys, you know, at those positions, and I'm anxious to see, you know, guys like T.J. Bedford, who redshirted last year, who's a really talented young man, get on the field and show what he can do in the offense. I'm very excited to watch, you know, Jeremiah Haydell get better from year 1 to year 2. Caleb Twyford get better from year 1 to year 2. And then I look at, you know, I look at those guys, and then I look at 4 guys coming in that are as talented physically as those guys that we have on our roster. So I'm excited to develop the guys that we have on our roster, get Mason Hayes get better, Hutch White get better. You know, those guys all compete and get better. But I'm also excited about, you know, getting those guys to a position and then bringing in some young guys right behind them with the leadership that'll be in front of those guys and have those guys be able to step up and play. Same thing in the secondary. We signed a bunch of talented guys that you know, have had their hands on the ball. You know, they know how to go play the ball in the air. And then take guys like Deshaun Waddy and J.T. Taylor and A.J. Krozik and, you know, add the experience with those guys and then have that position, both of those positions get better for us.
Are there any other spots that you're looking forward to see competition in this spring?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, you know, I think both in our offense and defensive lines, you know, getting better, competition, get better. Even though our depth isn't where we wanted in the offensive line, I'm still anxious to watch those guys compete and get better. There's still some spots in there that we need to, you know, upgrade. But I'm really anxious to watch both offense and defensive lines get better. Like I said earlier, we're still in the process of recruiting, so we may add to both spots as we move through the months of April and May and June.
How important is special teams development during this time of year?
Really, really important. You know, what's interesting is we kind of know what we have on our roster. We want to try to, you know, make it better, enhance it, make it better. You know, we signed what we think are 2 really good punter and kicker type guys to add. We won't be able to get those guys here till June, but I'm anxious to get those guys here because I think they help upgrade our kicking game. Good?
What about the linebacker coach, where you lost Evie and Jay Lloyd? You got into your team captain. A lot of leadership there that you've lost.
Yeah, you know, I'm excited about what we got in return. We didn't sign a linebacker this year because we felt like what we had coming back was capable for us to go compete. I'm really excited to watch Nick Daniels, you know, get an opportunity to go play. You know, you lose Gabe Lloyd, who's, you know, obviously a captain for us for 2 years, and his, you know, his ability to make plays. But I'm really excited to watch Nick Daniels play because, you know, Nick Daniels is more athletic than Gabe Lloyd. I love Gabe to death. Nick's more athletic and can run and make some plays. So I'm excited to watch, you know, him, you know, enter himself on Clifton Lewis. Same thing, guys that have played a lot of snaps here at the inside position. On the outside, you know, a healthy Hal Vinson and John Brandon at outside linebacker. You know, you hate to lose a guy like Easy. Easy didn't play a whole lot of snaps for us last year. He was hurt a lot. So, you know, those guys got a chance to play, and I'm anxious to watch them grow after playing a number of snaps last year. Hal Vinson may be the most talented guy on our football team, maybe the most explosive and strong and fastest guy on our football team. So I'm really anxious to watch him take another step and grow and mature this spring. That'll be exciting for us. And we lose the leadership of those 2 guys, Easy and Gabe, and hopefully they'll have an opportunity to continue to play if that's what they want to do. But I'm excited about those young guys that are coming in behind them to give us, you know, another punch at linebacker.